I learned a lot about what it means to be a mom from that classic TV show that makes having a big family look like so much fun. You know, Game of Thrones? That was very inspiring to me. I would watch that show and I'd be like, nobody asks those moms what they do all day. I don't see them having to make a meal plan. I said, these women on this show, man, they get involved in everyone's drama so that all their kids can marry rich and nobody in this family ever has to work again. I'm like, that is a model of motherhood I can get into. I realized I'm not a stay-at-home mom, I'm a stay-at-home matriarch.
Anybody here who has more than two, good night by that third and fourth one, you gotta let them do what they gotta do, She still cries over anything. She cries because she knows she gets her way. I said, what's she crying about? She wants your toy? Well, just give it to her. I can't deal with it. But she's a quirky little thing and fun. She is. She enjoys office work. And for Santa Claus this past Christmas, she wanted a filing cabinet. And that's what she wanted. And she likes, big tape dispensers and all that kind of stuff. And in our house, she has offices set up all over our house. And she's always talked to herself. And we like to sneak and watch her because she'll be doing office work. She has her little Barbie phone or cell phones and old cordless phones, and she'll be calling people up and chewing them out over the phone. She says, well, if you can't get this order in, I'm taking my business elsewhere. She says she wants to work for Geico when she gets older. For her 8th birthday, you know how mamas will call you and say, what's she into? What can I get her? And I said, well, she needs office supplies.
It's such a crazy time to be a parent because we're doing things so different, right? Like now you can choose your parenting style like you used to choose a Mortal Kombat fighter. Our parents only had one style. It was survival. That was it. They just had to make it through. But we chose conscious parenting, me and my husband, conscious parenting, which is annoying. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's annoying because it's not permissive. It's literally realizing every way in which you affect a tiny human life. And you have to be so aware of everything, and it's so hard because you want to fight them. You know you shouldn't. You know it's not their fault, but you find yourself getting frustrated at the craziest things. Because I would just be like, why can't you use a spoon? Give my son a spoon, he's like, no, you crackhead. It's just yogurt everywhere now.
But the bad thing about it is I didn't know his friends, and I'm trying to say that I snooped in his text chain on his cell phone. Don't judge me. I pay for that phone. But anybody have teens, preteens out there? By round of applause. You do? Did you snoop on their phone?
All the time.
You do?
All the time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so those 13-year-olds are nasty AF. Am I right? I got on the... What?
The girls.
How many girls do you have?
I got a boy.
Okay.
The girls.
Yeah, okay, so they're all nasty, all genders of 13-year-olds. I get on that text chain, the guys are like, my cock and balls, like, you pulling numbers? Excuse me? What's up, G? What's up, cuh? You chasing that bag? Nah, that was sus. No cap. No cap, though. I'm like, what the hell is going on? They're talking like thugs. They're overly sexual. Like, are you guys running drugs? What's happening? This is crazy. Oh, and then one kid goes, hey, daddy. He called himself daddy, like, hey, I'm your daddy. And then another kid the next day was like, aye, poppy. Like, aye, poppy. I'm pretty sure you're all white kids that go to Catholic school. Like, there's no poppy on this text chain. What is happening? And then I remember this one day that I didn't have any help. He was a really tiny baby. I just wanted to go have a break and sit down at the neighborhood bar for a glass of wine. And I was like, what do I do? I can't do this. And I thought, yes, I can do this. We have the little baby Bjorn wrap thing. I'm just gonna wrap him in and go to the bar, you know? Technically, not drinking alone. And so I did it, and I went into the bar. And people were cool. People were cool. I got a high five. I got a thumbs up, but there was one guy who was giving me like a stink eye. He was like looking at me angry that there was a baby in the bar, and I felt like I had to say something to him. And I just went up to him and I was like, look, he can be in here, okay? Because this is my emotional support baby, okay? Yeah, that's right. A service baby, thank you. That's right, it's a service baby. I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, if you must know, from having a baby.
And so the labour happened very quickly. So I knew that I was in labour, but no one believed me. And I think one of the reasons is that my waters didn't break. And so the baby came out in the amniotic sac, like in the cow. But we didn't know that at the time. So she just looked like an alien splodge. And so the midwife said to my husband, oh, do you want to go and have a look at the head? And so he went to go and have a look. And I went, oh, what does she look like? And he went, don't worry about it, we'll see. I was like, what do you mean, we'll see? And he was like, let's just get it out and then we'll deal with it.
There's things that have come up for me that I wasn't expecting in parenting. Things that I find hard, things that I find harder. I'm severely dyslexic, and I think my dyslexia has got worse. My partner Alice hasn't been the biggest support. No. My wife has started spelling to me what we're doing with our afternoon. Even though she knows how bad my dyslexia is. She'll be like, oh, after her NAP, we'll go to the PARK. Like, I ain't got a fucking clue, let's go, Vorderman. Before Christmas, Alice told me a few things to go and get her, a few days before Christmas, a few things to get her to put in her stocking. As I was leaving, she spelt Elsa doll. She did not get an Elsa doll, she got an easel. Now, I am well aware that sounds like a gag that I've written. I know there'll be people here going, you're a super, I think swap the letters around to prove you're dyslexic. I want you all to know that is a genuine row between me and my wife that happened on the 23rd of December, and I've decided that by talking about it on stage, I have made the easel tax deductible.
I drove here in my minivan. That makes it really hard to feel cool, you know? And by the way, I used to drive a cool car, and let me tell you, when you drive a sexy vehicle around a hip part of town, you feel like, I'm the Wolf of Wall Street. You spend a few years driving a Honda Odyssey around a neighborhood called Pleasant Oak, and it becomes, I'm just trying to be more like those dogs on Bluey. I have to drive a minivan, I have to live in the suburbs, because I have 6 kids. All right, well, you guys might be interested in my masterclass on responsible family planning. It's 20 seconds long, and it's called Just Don't. It's so funny, because I think back to when I was younger, people said that I should not have kids. They were very rude about it. They're like, Jen, you have no maternal instincts. You never will. You running a house with actual children, and oh, that'd be a disaster. And now I have this big family, and I think back on that, and I'm like, they were so right. How did they know? They nailed it. No, guys, I had to have 6 kids. I am an only child. My husband is an only child. My father was an only child. My family tree was becoming a stump. Your annual family reunion should not fit at one table at Applebee's. And we went for it. We had 6 babies in 8 years. I said that at a comedy club one time, and a guy with face tattoos pushes through the crowds afterward. He had piercings all over his face, too. And he runs up to me and he says, hey, I really respect your alternative lifestyle. let me tell you, when you announce your second pregnancy, people say, are you trying to get a boy and a girl? You announce your sixth pregnancy in 8 years, and people say, are you trying to get a reality show on TLC? What is wrong with you? So my husband and I just had a big anniversary. Yep. We have now been married 20 years. Now, those of you who have been married for a while know that as the years go on, you have to be intentional to keep the spice alive. So, for our 20th anniversary, I finally let my husband live his ultimate fantasy. I told him that for a whole night, I would take any constructive criticism he had for me. Okay, now you guys are pretty young, but when I say this in front of middle-aged crowds, there's always a couple 60-year-old guys in the back who are like, that is so hot. They're like, is there a place where I can just watch that on the internet? Like, that's what I'm into in this phase of life. No, that was a wild night. I haven't spoken to him since then, but... Now, this is the point, talking about kids and marriage, where a lot of people would make graphic jokes about how those children were conceived, how they were brought into the world. I will not be doing that because my husband is a very private person. He would have you know that we reproduce asexually. Like amoeba. He is so uptight about this kind of thing that he will not even send me any flirty texts. I try. A couple weeks ago, I texted him, hey there, looking pretty sexy today. He replied, received. With a period. I said, what are you worried about? We're married. He said, you're not thinking. What about this? What if we got into legal trouble and our phones got subpoenaed and our texts to one another were read aloud in open court? I said, okay, if that scenario played out, we would have a lot bigger issues than a couple of eggplant emoji. He hesitated to ask me out when we first met because I'm 3 inches taller than he is. And he said, I know a lot of women don't want to date shorter guys. I said, when I was single, I was goal-oriented. I said, look, if I can just find a man who is loving, who is supportive, who respects my boundaries by not asking me how much money I spent at Target, I don't care if he played one of the Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz. I'll stuff that man into a baby Bjorn. Take him out for a date night. We'll have a lovely time. You don't have to be able to ride a roller coaster with your spouse. It's not like a requirement, for a good marriage. People often comment, they say, Jen, your husband is so supportive of your career. And he really is, because he doesn't want to work anymore. I have a theory that on a deep caveman level, it is very important to men to be the primary providers for their wives and children for about 15, 20 years, and then they're out. I see these young wives on Instagram who are like, my husband completely provides financially for our entire family because for us, it's a sacred journey. I'm like, girl, you're in a relay race. You just don't know it. That man's gonna hit his 43rd birthday, run up to you, throw the baton at you, be like, this is your problem now, I'm out. This was surprising to me because my husband went to Yale. When I was dating him, I thought, man, if I can just get a ring on it. The minute we say I do, poof, all of my financial problems disappear. Single ladies, I need to inform you. Men have discovered work-life balance. So if that's the plan you want to get on, you're gonna need to go for old money. A couple years ago, he sat me down and he said, Jen, you stayed home with our children for so many years. Let it be my turn now. I said, okay, so I stayed home with them when they were a bunch of screaming gremlins. Now you're willing to stay home with them when they are a jovial brood of free bartenders and chauffeurs. And we got a lot of kids, so he's got like 2 dedicated kids just to make his queso. You know when I should have known this was coming? A while back, he started sending me a lot more girl boss memes on Instagram. It would be like, girls can do anything. Careers are for girls. A girl could support 6 kids while her husband goes sailing with his friend Scott. I was like, is he making these? Like, I will say he is a very frugal man. So much so that he convinced our children that there's a very special elf at the North Pole. This elf is in charge of quality control. And he puts his special bright orange little sticker on only the finest toys. And his name is Clarence. The kids would open their toys at Christmas and he'd be like, oh, darn it, did they misspell Clarence's name again? Ha ha. Oh. But Clarence is killing it. He is almost as good as the Easter Bunny's assistant rollback. He's like, these guys are incredible. I learned the hard way, do not let your very frugal spouse get gifts for the tooth fairy to give. My daughter had lost a tooth. It was time to set out the tooth fairy gifts. And I said, all right, what did you get? I knew it would be something from the discount bin at Walmart. So he pulls out his bag. The first thing he has in there, I swear to you this is true. Hand on my Bible app, I swear. It's a floppy rubber rat. I had so many questions, starting with like, where does the market demand for this product come from? You know, who was like, our home is not complete without, I don't know. I was like, okay, what else did you get? So he pulled out a bottle that had liquid in it. And I said, oh, is it a fragrance? He said, sort of. It was deer lure. Deer come to our neighborhood and my daughter likes to see them. And he's like, look, check it out. It says authentic female deer urine, guaranteed to attract a mate. Kind of genius, right? I said, I just have to take a moment. So this is where our house is now. The tooth fairy is bringing pee. And it's for hunters. So on the back, there was a picture of an angry buck with rifle crosshairs over his little deer face. I said, this is literally the worst tooth fairy gift in the world. But it was 11 p.m. and I didn't have any better ideas, so that is what we left. Imagine my daughter rolling over that morning. She's like, oh, what did she sees what looks like a dead rat and a bottle of animal urine with a deer that's about to be shot on it. I don't think she thought the tooth fairy came. I think she thought the mafia came.
Okay, let me tell y'all that my middle child is 23 now, and she's the only one that checks on me. She called me a few minutes ago and said, "Did you get to Naples all right?" And I said, "Yeah, baby. Thank you for asking. Tell your daddy." She is a beauty, and she is smart and hateful. And we've been scared to death of her all of her life. And it really got bad when she was about 16 or 17. Have any of y'all been through that? We walked on eggshells around her. She'd come down the steps in the morning and we'd be like, "Who is it?" "I don't know." And it happened when she was about 16 or 17. She turned on me on a dime. And I truly believe that God allows this because he knows that you're grieving because they're going to go to college or whatever they're going to do. And he makes them just as mean as he can so that you can let them go. The very breath that I breathed out of my nostrils made her so angry. We were not allowed to eat cereal in our own home because she couldn't stand to hear us chew it. And I don't mean to talk about her because she had a lot on her. She had to empty the dishwasher. That was a lot. She's always had a bunch of boys after because she's a doll, and they always wanted to date her and always came around our house. And there was one, and he was a player. He was a schmoozer. And he would say stuff to me. He'd go, "Miss Morgan, you look beautiful today." And I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, can I make you a casserole?" And thank goodness they broke up because I was exhausted. I was mopping the floor, blowing my hair out every day. And I thought, why did that affect me that way? Why did I? And I thought, oh, I know. It's because my love language is words of affirmation. And I don't get them. So I got hoodooed by this boy. My husband and I read that book and went to a Sunday school retreat years ago. And it was the 5 love languages. Have y'all read that? I know. It's good. And it works. It really does. But you read the book and you take the test, and you and your husband will take the test. And it'll tell you, there's 5 prominent love languages. It'll tell you what your husband's prominent love language is. He'll find out what yours is. So at night, y'all can sit on the couch and feed each other y'all's love language. And then your love tank feels full. If you don't, your husband's liable to go to work and is standing by the water fountain, and some whore comes in and feeds him his love language, and then he feels a tingle, and then Satan swoops in. I know. Terrible. So here's the 5 love languages, if y'all don't know. There's quality time. So there's people that just want you to sit with them and watch a television show or something like that. Then there's gifts. That's my sister's. It does not have to be something that's expensive. If you give her a rose and a card, she'll bawl her eyes out because her love tank feels full. I know. And her husband doesn't do it. Okay. All right, and then there's physical touch. And so many women, when I say that, they'll go, "Oh, yeah, that's my husband's. He's on me like a duck on a June bug." But we're not talking about the nasty kind. We're talking about, people that just want to squeeze and hug and hold on to you. That's their love language, is physical touch. And then there's words of affirmation, so that's mine. So all my husband has to say is, "Leanne, you look pretty today," or "Leanne, that Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata is to die for." And then my love tank feels full. And then I'm willing to do something vulgar with him. And then he gives me money to get my hair highlighted. That's how it works. That's biblical. Okay, y'all. My baby, my middle one, the whole time she was in high school, so ashamed of me and so embarrassed by me, but loves me more than anybody. Now we're best friends, but I'm telling y'all, everything I did made her so mad. And I remember showing up at middle school in a pair of yoga pants. She goes, "What are you doing here?" I thought I looked so cute. But anyway, she had a bunch of little girls always spending the night, and she had this little girl spend the night, and the little girl stayed a couple of nights, so I did her laundry, and all I said, this little girl was, "Katie, you're so tiny. Your little underwear looks like a slingshot." And that little girl thought it was funny. And my baby looked at me and went. So I got out of there, and when that little girl left, I came back in. I said, "What's wrong with me saying that her little panties look like a slingshot? I wish somebody'd say my panties look like a slingshot." Nick, my panties look like a catapult. Did you ever watch Braveheart and Mel Gibson? You know, boys, y'all ever watch that? You know, when they pull that big thing back, put a ball in it, and fling it, and kill a bunch of people with it? That's what my panties look like. I buy Soma now. Soma, big old panties, honey. The bigger the better. I used to wear Victoria's Secret when I still had hope. And then I found out, y'all know who owns Victoria's Secret? Satan. And, no, he doesn't. I had to stop wearing them because they were cutting me in two. But, Lord, they're probably about to go out of business. But anyway, everybody is. But I love a big panty. Okay. My baby child is 22 now. She lives in New York. And goes to school up there. And we miss her. And she's been a doll baby. And her daddy and I, we begged her to go to Phoenix online. And she was like, "Get out of my butthole." So y'all just stare at me. And she smells good. But anyway, my husband is 6'4", 230 pounds, 250 if he's eating white flour and sugar. He plays a lot of tennis. And it got on my nerves so bad because I had no estrogen, no progesterone, no testosterone. And I was crazy. Okay, his testosterone dipped a little. Praise God. And then it went back up and he started playing tennis again and plays, that makes it naturally go up. It made me so mad. Anyway, my husband's athletic and played football and basketball. I played basketball. I know y'all thinking, "You sissy thing, you did not." But I did. It was the early 80s. I had really big hair. I'm from a town of 500 people in Middle Tennessee, and we grow dark-fired tobacco. And we didn't know what waterproof mascara was. So by the end of the games, I looked like, say, if Tammy Wynette and Alice Cooper had a child together. I played forward. Sometimes I had to play center if Mary Rowland had to take her baby to the health department. But anyway, so we wanted these children to be in sports, you know, keep them off of dope. And my baby child, all my children are tall kids because I'm 5'8", and I think I'm getting bigger by the day. I think my feet are spreading. I think my hands are big. I see my hands in a video. I take pictures, and all these little women come up to here on me. I look like... Okay. Well, my baby child grew really quick, really fast, and was 5'6" in elementary school. And I think it was my fault. I think it was all that chicken. I think if anybody's in here my age, we didn't know about hormone-free back then. No, everybody, no. All that milk, it had stuff in it. Lord, I've raised her on a bunch of chicken and milk. Anyway, I would not do that to a grandbaby now. Okay, so she was very tall, very self-conscious, and she was taller than all the teachers, the principal, all the little children. Good news is very athletic and very strong. So all these teams around East Tennessee would call me and they'd say, can she play goalkeeper for our team? We'll get her an iPhone. Can she play basketball for us? She never played basketball. And y'all, it tickled me. And I felt like LeBron James's mama. And I made her do it. And she came to me one day and she goes, I'm sick of all this. I'm not going to play all this for y'all. She goes, I want to cheer. I said, well, baby, we're big people. And we don't tumble. Let me see what I can find out. There's a thing in the United States called competition cheer. And I bet it's big in Florida. Yeah. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of like Honey Boo Boo meets stripping meets the Olympics. Because they're gymnasts, is what they are. They're very talented gymnasts. So there's one in Knoxville called Premier Sharks. And I dropped her off to audition or try out, whatever you want to call it. We didn't know anything about it. And this little woman, they ended up putting her on a bad Mamma Jamma squad because all the little children her age came up to hear on her. And somebody's got to throw them up in the air. So they were thrilled to have her. She's strong as a mule. So they said it's $150 a month for her to come in and take 2 nights a week to learn a 2.5-minute routine. I was like, okay. And they said there's a uniform that we're going to order for her. And it's sequins up the sleeve, comes to right here, exposes her little tummy. She's going to have on a tiny little skirt with a slit in it with a glitter panty underneath it. And I said, that's a whore outfit. And it came with its own bag of whore makeup. And the woman said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands and compete against other little whore children. Places like Atlanta and Cincinnati. So we get in the car and drive all night, get a hotel room, and then the next morning go to a coliseum with tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And they said it's $150 to enter your baby in this competition. It's $30 for you and your husband to wear a band to get in and watch her in this competition. Somebody was selling corn dogs for $15. Anyway, they start out with the babies, and the babies are yummy, and they're 5. And you could eat their lips on. And they got on a skirt about this big. And their little mamas are probably in their late 20s, early 30s, you know, and they're not bitter yet. And so the little girls come out to Beyonce's All Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in the front doing every move, trying to keep them on track because they're babies. And they need to be at home breastfeeding. So they go up in age throughout the day, and they call my baby's group, and they go, Reef Sharks. For 2.5 minutes, my baby throws little children up in the air, working like a Trojan, broken out in a sweat. And the whole time she's throwing these little children up, and they're called flyers. And they are freakish, tiny little children. And their mamas are freaky, tiny little women. And I think, how do they even have these little babies? I'm from farming people. I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. I don't know who these people are. Anyway, these little flyers, she's throwing them up in the air, and the whole time during this 2.5 minutes, they're going... And nobody knows why. And that goes on, and then it's the finale. And 25, 30 little girls put their forehead on the ground and hunker down. And the finale is my baby. My baby hops up and has got a little girl's foot in her hand. Are y'all listening to me over there? When's the last time y'all put somebody's... The gay boys went nuts. It was a big deal, okay? So then they were like, oh, she's got to do it again. We got to have her next, because she didn't drop anybody and give anybody concussion. Those mamas had me on speed dial. They loved her. But she was like, you know what? I've got spirit. I know I do. But she said, I'm tired of this. I got it out of my system. She said, I'm not going to do it anymore, but I'm keeping that whore outfit.
COVID was like a universal trauma that we all shared. What a crazy time. Everybody's life changed. Things changed for people. I became a mom during the pandemic. I had a baby, which is wild. Thank you, most of you. You know, I realize I get a different response depending on like lifestyle-wise and generationally, like who's in the crowd. Like if it's older people or people with kids, they'll be like, woohoo, you made a person. But like young single people, y'all be like, I see all your trauma come up to the surface. I'm like, I said, I'm a mom, not your mom. I didn't do it. But I get it, because we're having different conversations now, right, about parenting. Right, we're getting into it, man. Parenting conversations are changing, and they should. We have some archaic views on parenting that I really think need changing. Like the belief that it makes or breaks you as a woman to have a baby. No, it doesn't. If you want to have a baby, have a baby. You don't want to have a baby, don't have a baby. It's nobody's business. It's ridiculous to think it's anybody's business but your own. But I will tell you this, anytime I've met a woman that doesn't want kids, that is the first thing she wants me to know about her. The second she finds out I'm a mom, she's like, I don't want kids. Cool, I wasn't offering. I was talking about my favorite subject, which is me, and then you interrupted me with some you, which I did not request for this. But I respect it. I respect it when a woman knows she doesn't want to have kids. I do. I think it's a good thing to know about yourself, and I think a lot of people would have been spared bad relationships with their mothers had they known they didn't know what they were doing or feel like they wanted to do it even in the first place. And I wish more people were that aware, right? Sometimes it's a bummer, I'm not gonna lie. Like I'll meet a person who's a really good human being and they don't wanna have kids, and I'm like, damn, I really wish you did, because I wish there were more people like you know what I mean? And then sometimes people are like, I don't wanna have kids, and I'm like, that's probably the best for everybody. I don't think you should have houseplants. Like, I don't know if you know how to love, bro. We're having these different conversations that I feel like are so important because we're talking about things that definitely people that grew up in certain generations never heard of, right? Like we're talking about toxic parenting, right? We never heard that growing up. And let me tell you something, like I said, I'm Puerto Rican. I guarantee you nobody's cornered the market on toxic parenting like Latino parents. Woo! Man. Oh, look at us trauma bonding. It hurts so bueno, doesn't it? I'm telling you, man. We put the tra in trauma. That was us. That was all us. It was just Alma, we spiced it up. That's why we have to talk about stuff like toxic parenting, because a lot of us didn't even realize we had toxic parents until we looked over our childhoods with today's guidelines. I thought I was safe. I was like, nah, I love my parents love me. What's that? Yeah, they hit me. Every day. But only when I was doing kid stuff. Let me see that list real quick. Let me look real quick. Saw all the information they know now about raising kids, and I was like, oh no. I need so much therapy. Like, that's wild. I hope there's a punch card. Trying to explain therapy to Latino parents. Look at that, look at that, look at that. That hit you right in the trauma, right there. Like, man, I was like, I cannot sana away depression. Not how that works. If you don't know what sana is, allow me to explain. For those that don't know, Latinos have this thing that we say when like little kids get hurt. It's a little rhyme, make them feel better, you know what I mean? Sana colita de rana, si no sanas hoy, sanarás mañana. You're all healed. One time my husband was like, can you translate that? And I was like, nah. Nah, man. Anything you translate from another language into English always loses something. Because the other languages are often so poetic, especially Spanish, such a poetic language. And if you translate it, it just loses all validity. Because translated, it's save, butt of a frog. If you don't heal today, you'll heal tomorrow. It's just passive-aggressive witchcraft. That's all it is. That's all it is. Save, butt of a frog. You have to say it in Spanish or your children will have nightmares. Like, you can't. It's such a crazy time to like be a parent because we're doing things so different, right? Like now you can choose your parenting style like you used to choose a Mortal Kombat fighter. Our parents only had one style. It was survival. That was it. They just had to make it through. But we chose conscious parenting, me and my husband, conscious parenting, which is annoying. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's annoying because it's not permissive. It's literally realizing every way in which you affect a tiny human life. And you have to be so aware of everything, and it's so hard because you want to fight them. You know you shouldn't. You know it's not their fault, but you find yourself getting frustrated at the craziest things. Because I would just be like, why can't you use a spoon? Give my son a spoon, he's like, no, you crackhead. It's just yogurt everywhere now. And the stakes just get higher and higher as you go along, what you have to teach them, what you have to be patient with, because now we're at potty training. Literally, there was one time my son made full-on eye contact with me as he pooped on my living room floor. And as a conscious parent, I was like, way to listen to your body, little man. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? He's a kid, he doesn't know any better. What am I, roll up a newspaper, bang him on the head with it, push his face in it? No, bad baby! I would call the cops on myself if I did that. I'm like, you gotta come get me, I finally broke. But here's the amazing thing about conscious parenting that they don't tell you. You learn as you do it. The more you consciously parent your kid, the more it heals all of your crap. Yeah, it really does. Because you end up parenting the way you wish you had been parented. I found this out in the moment with my son because we do affirmations every morning. I know, it's adorable. Don't get it twisted, it's Snoop Dogg affirmations. I want to thank me. No, it's a great affirmation. No, Snoop Dogg has a kid show. If you don't know, it's amazing. Yeah, right? Doggyland. If you don't know about it, watch it. He plays a character named Bow Wizzle. You're welcome. The songs all slap. You're welcome. So we were doing our Snoop Dogg affirmations. And my son has that cute little toddler voice, you know what I mean? Like that, like I was like, say, I am strong. And he's like, I am strong. Like, say, I am brave. He's like, I am brave. And then I felt it, like all the stuff I didn't get. You know what I mean? In that moment, I felt that. And like, before I knew it, I was like, say, I am loved. I gotta call your grandma. I didn't even see that coming, man. And it's so crazy now being a boy mom because the microscope is on us, man. We are underneath such a microscope, everything we do. And I'm fine with it because I think if we change the game, we could really change how things work out in the world. I really do. I don't mind it, you know what I mean? And my girlfriends were on it right away. The second they found out that I was having a little boy, they were like, it's all up to you. You gotta fight the patriarchy. And I was like, can I teach him the alphabet first? I can, I just gotta be real intentional with it, you know what I mean? Like, A is for accountability, B is for bodily autonomy, and C is for consent. Repeat it to mommy. You have to be aware of these things, you know what I mean? And I think the thing that's hard now is that there's so many opinions on parenting now, and you don't know where to go, you know what I mean? And as a parent, it can be hard to take the opinion of somebody who like doesn't have kids, for instance. I found myself getting frustrated at people that would give parenting advice that don't have kids. And I felt the way that a lot of parents do. Like, if you're not living this life, how do you know what to tell me to do? Until I realized the reason why I should listen to these people is that they may not have kids, but they are coming from a perspective of a person who experienced a certain type of parenting. And I really had to think, what would my son say about my parenting? And what would I want him to say about my parenting? Not all of it, some people are dumb. Don't listen to everyone. Because I did have a girlfriend that was like, you better raise him right. And I'm like, what did you think the plan was? What did you think? I think I got pregnant and I was like, I will raise him evil. Go forth and destroy my child. Of course I want to raise a good human being, but I also don't like being told what to do. So the second she said that, there was a part of me that wanted to be like, nope. I was gonna, but then you had said what you said. Now I gotta make sure he has a misogynistic podcast by the age of 7. Just sitting there with some big old headphones like, as a alpha male. And I'm behind him with my problematic boy mom self like, that's right, baby, these hoes ain't loyal. It's just me and you forever. I could never be that mom. Can never be that mom. There was a lot of things that I saw people doing that I knew I wasn't gonna do as a mom. Like, the one thing I don't do is boys will be boys. I don't do that with my son. It's too permissive. There's no equivalent for little girls. So I don't allow it. And you know, the parents that I've seen do it, it gets out of hand real quick. You just know it's gonna snowball to bigger things, like boys will be boys. He stabbed the babysitter. He's a boy. He's learning to express himself. And I know you're not supposed to judge other parents, but I do. I do. Only when I see them doing things that are detrimental to their children or to parenting in general. I can't help but pick up on that now. Like, there was a woman who put out a video and it went viral. And this was the whole video. She goes, I'm gonna teach my son how to cook so your daughter can't trick him into a relationship with her cooking. First of all, don't nobody want your dusty son. First of all, don't act like a basic skill is something to brag about. And second, how long you been out the dating pool, ma'am? What do you think is gonna happen? Do you think I'm just gonna leave a trail of empanadas that lead to an altar? And he's gonna be like, oh no, I'm married. What kind of idiot did you raise? There were so many things, and when, me and my husband, when we talked about how we were gonna do this, that we decided we were just not gonna do, right? And there were certain things we promised ourselves that we would do. Because there was a lot to consider. Not only do we wanna raise a good human being, but also, my son is multicultural. Like I said, he's mixed. He's half Puerto Rican, half white, hard tea. That Midwest white hits different, you know what I'm saying? Like I know there's white people here, but if my husband walked in, even y'all would be like, that's a white guy. Like, you'd be like, I'm white, but that's unseasoned chicken that just walked through the front door. That is level 10 white. Don't y'all come for my porcelain king. There's a couple guys in the audience that are like, porcelain king. I'm gonna use that later. But I had to think about that, man. Like, my son is mixed. Or as I like to say, his DNA's been colonized. That is my favorite way of saying it. Because people are always like, wait a minute. She snuck in history. I have to think about that, though. Honestly, as the mother of a mixed child, I have to think about the fact that a lot of his childhood is going to be me explaining my half of his makeup and the history of those people. And I know he's gonna have questions, because all kids have questions, and I'm petrified. Because I don't know if you've heard the level of questions these children are asking, but these are Jeopardy level questions. And I am, quite honestly, not prepared. I'm just waiting for the day where he's like, what happened to the indigenous people of the Caribbean, Mommy? And then I just look at his dad. This is your time to shine, sir! My poor son is walking around like, I come from the oppressor and the oppressed. I'm the problem and the solution. Oh. I'm like, that's right, baby. Also, don't take no blankets from daddy's side of the family. If you got that last part, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Because the amount of times I'd looked out at an audience of people that's like, what's wrong with their blankets? What's wrong? What's the thread count on the blankets? I'm proud of my son. He's doing great. He speaks English and Spanish. And yeah. Humble brag. And really, look, if you're in the audience and you're Latino, Latina, Latine, Latinx, any of them, and you don't speak Spanish, that is okay. It doesn't make you lesser. It doesn't mean that people should make you feel lesser. I spent a lot of my younger years so judged because I didn't speak Spanish well enough for the people around me that I just stopped altogether and didn't learn till I was older. And here's the thing, I'm also third generation. And if you're third generation, then you know what I'm talking about. By the time I came around, everybody had assimilated already. So English was the norm in our household. When my parents were growing up, it was different. They spoke Spanish only inside the house. But that's because at that time, there was something called a gag law, where Puerto Ricans could not display a Puerto Rican flag or speak or sing any patriotic songs. So it was dangerous to speak Spanish outside of the house. So for me, I didn't speak it in the house. I only spoke English, so I learned it from all of my coworkers when I started working. And all of my coworkers were Mexican. So my Spanish is very confusing. Because I'm a Puerto Rican who speaks Spanish with a Mexican accent, but uses Puerto Rican and Mexican terminology. My Spanish sounds like what a ransom note looks like. Like, people who are fluent in Spanish hear me speak Spanish and they're like, where are you from? I don't know, man, I'm trying to figure it out. My son does, he speaks Spanish, but he's nervous in Spanish, so he like whispers in Spanish. I know, it's adorable and creepy, huh? Kids do not know the rules of whispering, so they just like do it whenever. I'll be like washing the dishes and behind me I hear, siete. Mommy's gonna burn some sage now. Try to get the demon of Columbus out of you.
I'm a mom, and it's not easy. Because you gotta follow them. You gotta follow them. You gotta feed them every day, you know? It's just like, ugh. You have to eat again? Like, what is up with that? But it's cool. I like being a mom, I guess. You know, it's kind of tiring. It's just like, ugh. They wear you down, you know? When I first had the baby, someone was holding the baby, and I'm like, is that the baby? Oh, I don't like it. Like, I didn't realize it was my baby for a second. And then you start to like it, and then after a while, it's like, okay, I love you, I would die for you, you know? Are you happy? It's like, ugh. My son just turned 13, my son, Don, turned 13. And I threw him a party at Dave & Buster's. You guys are impressed. Yeah. Because you know I gotta buy every kid the game card. You wish I was your mom, don't you? But it's cool when they're 13 because you can just, they don't want to be around you and you don't want to be around them. You know, you don't have to like monitor them. You can, you can until they're 54, but you don't have to. Starting at about 13, they don't really want you around. That's very beyond codependent. That's like, we have a problem. Rosemont, we have a problem. No, you can follow. You know, there's no rules in parenting, certainly. But I left him alone at the party, and then I had a little me time. You know, I just did a quick bump of cocaine and played that extra large Ms. Pac-Man. You know? My son comes by an hour later. He's like, Mom, you're really good at that. I'm like, yeah, I am. It's called a real video game, son. You ever seen a yellow dot eat other yellow dots? Fuck Fortnite. Then it was his birthday, so I wanted to tell him the story of his birth. We drove past the hospital. I said, son, that's the emergency room. I was wheeled in. My water never broke. My heart rate dropped. Your heart rate dropped. Everybody was worried. He goes, nah. I said, no, they thought I could die. He goes, nah. I was just chilling. Oh, you were just chilling in mommy's uterus. Got it, because I thought you were trying to kill me. I'm gonna use that later when he's in college. You know, how you doing with your roommates? You guys chilling? Yeah, you comfortable? Are you as comfortable as you were in mommy's uterus? Would that make you chillin' a little bit more? You want me to bring that thing over there? You can hang out, put a beanbag, a lava lamp, do your homework up in there? I'll bring it over there, son, if that's what makes you comfortable in this world. Yeah, my water never broke. He started going back up in me. He's like, hell no. He's smart. He gets it. I'm not gonna go out in this world, you know? Oh, I ended up having an emergency C-section. Open the moonroof, baby comes out. And I should have known, you know? I don't know what I was thinking. Like, of course it was gonna end up like that because my son's a genius, right? He's gonna be a genius. That's a big skull. It's a big brain to hold his big brain. And then my pelvis, the birth canal, I have a tight pussy, so that's a recipe for disaster, you know? His big skull, my tight pussy, ba-banga. Like, ugh. What was I thinking? It's like I forgot. Just walk around everyday life like all modest, like forgetting it. I should be using that to my advantage, you know? They're like, we're boarding military, diamond elite. Tight pussy coming through. Make way. 15 items or less. I know I have 16 items, but I do have a tight pussy. Can that... Obviously, that was a joke for shock value, you know? Like, you didn't think I was gonna say it, and then I say it, because I don't believe, like, it's very patriarchal. Who's that for? I mean, I do have a tight pussy, but, I'm just saying, like, it's very porny, you know? It's like, fuck me. Like, I'm not about that. I'm all, like, give it up for the loose pussies is what I'm saying. All kinds of pussies. Give it up for the Chicago adjacent pussies. Give it up for the green water on St. Patrick's Day pussies. Give it up for that deep dish pussy. What's up? You know, because that's a magical thing if a baby can come through there. Also, you have a loose pussy. You're just, you know, you can hold things up there. Like, oh yeah, I can hold your keys. Yeah, no problem. Oh, you need a bottle of water? Got you. There you go. You like room temp, right? Body temp, okay. You need a Kleenex? Got you. It's a little bit damp already. Okay, that, you know, too much, but is it? I don't know. All women comedians talk about is there... Yeah, listen, okay? Listen to it. It's important. It gives life, okay? It gives life. So, let's see. He's 13, middle school. His first year of middle school was during the pandemic. So he had to do, you guys had the pandemic here, right? Yeah. Total lockdown. Like, he had to go to Zoom school. So he just woke up in bed, right on his laptop, and then gaming for lunch, YouTube for dinner, TikTok put him to bed. But we're close. We have heart-to-hearts. I just log on to TikTok Live, and I wait for him to log on. I love you. He's like, Mom. I'm like, come on, we both need the numbers. I love you. But what's kind of weird about a Zoom year and him starting a new school, starting middle school, I didn't know who he was talking to. He's just in there. Everything's online, right? He did not leave his room. I was like, this is the best time I've ever had being a mom. This is incredible. You know, I didn't know what to do. I would just knock on the, like, get some sunlight, stand by the window. Smashing peanut butter and jelly, putting it under the door. I don't know. Are you okay? This is great. But the bad thing about it is I didn't know his friends, and I'm trying to say that I snooped in his text chain on his cell phone. Don't judge me. I pay for that phone. But anybody have teens, preteens out there? By round of applause. You do? Did you snoop on their phone?
All the time.
You do?
All the time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so those 13-year-olds are nasty AF. Am I right? I got on the... What?
The girls.
How many girls do you have?
I got a boy.
Okay.
So the girls.
Yeah, okay, so they're all nasty, all genders of 13-year-olds. I get on that text chain, the guys are like, my cock and balls, like, you pulling numbers? Excuse me? What's up, G? What's up, cuh? You chasing that bag? Nah, that was sus. No cap. No cap, though. I'm like, what the hell is going on? They're talking like thugs. They're talking about, they're overly sexual. Like, are you guys running drugs? What's happening? This is crazy. Oh, and then one kid goes, hey, daddy. He called himself daddy, like, hey, I'm your daddy. And then another kid the next day was like, aye, poppy. Like, aye, poppy. I'm pretty sure you're all white kids that go to Catholic school. Like, There's no Poppy on this text chain. What is happening? But it made me nervous, because I'm like, who are these kids? The first day of in-person school, my heart was beating. I thought, I'm gonna have to give it to little Brandon, he's gonna get a pop. When I see these thugs, criminals, we drive up in-person school. The first time I catch a glimpse of them in the flesh physically, they're all like, meh. Like all elbows and knees, just like awkward as shit. Like stuff's big that should be small. Stuff's small that should be bigger. Just like uncomfortable as shit in their bodies. Like they don't know what they're doing. I was like, whew, that is what middle school should be like. They're just accelerated with the thumbs and the language, right? They gotta like catch up to themselves. Every generation has its curse. Oh, and then I got a email from Pornhub. Excuse me? This guy, you don't know your Apple ID is my Apple ID? No, he didn't know because I got a second email from Pornhub. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I called him downstairs. I said, hey, were you and your friends trying to look at porn? No. I said, well, if you were to come across any porn, I just want you to know it's not like sex in real life. Okay, here's what my son Don says. He goes, I know, Mom. I also know that watching too much porn gives you brain damage. I said, who told you that? I saw it on TikTok. Okay. So thank you, TikTok, for parenting my child in a way I could have never imagined. Please don't let the government take our TikTok away. Oh, then I checked his TikTok. May I share with you what he changed his TikTok name to?
Please do.
He changed it to... So polite. He changed it to @BigYummyPenis. She goes, no. @BigYummyPenis. I mean, it's a good name. I'm surprised it wasn't taken yet. Because it wasn't @BigYummyPenis269, you know what I mean? It was straight up @BigYummyPenis. The first thing I thought was like, dude, how do you know? Who told you? Your sheets? What's up? Hey! You guys clapped for baby jizz? The joke's on me, though. The first time he asked me to do his bedding, I was like, thought he was being responsible. I'm like, yeah, sure, I got dog. It's a little too far. These are bodily functions, people. So yeah, @BigYummyPenis. Obviously, I was not laughing at the time. I call him downstairs. I said, hey, I noticed you changed your TikTok name to @BigYummyPenis. Mom, my friends got my login and now TikTok locked me out and I can't get back in for 30 days. I said, I don't know if any of that's true, but I do know that your name's now @BigYummyPenis. Should we change your birth certificate? You want to start writing that in on your school papers? Which I thought was a pretty good mothering instinct. Like, let's go with it, son. Experience the shame on your own terms. Go forth into the world, BigYummyPenis. Go for it. Let's see how you do. Because then I thought, you know how sometimes people are, drugs and alcohol, they're like addicts when they're young. And then by the time they're 18, they got to go sober. By the time he's 18, he's going to be like, please, it's just regular penis. I don't know if it's big and yummy. That's for you and I to discover together. I'm just looking for a stable woman I can trust. Later, when he thought I forgot about it, I wanted him to do a chore. I was like, hey, Big Yummy, can you come down here? These dishes aren't gonna dry themselves. Hey, BYP, can you take this trash out?